Congratulations on finishing your course. That was some hard work. Now what do I do with it? Is there anyone that will house my course and help me sell it? What if I can get an entire team to help me sell my course that I worked so hard on? Have I got a discovery for you? The Great Discovery not only has a place for your course, but a network of affiliates that are eager to sell your hard-earned course creation. Want to make a little more money so you can build your course or invest in yourself? Opportunities for all this and more await you at The Great Discovery, or go to tuepodcast.net/discovery for more information. Once again, that's tuepodcast.net/discovery for more information about how to join The Great Discovery now. This is an Undiscovered Legacy production. Welcome to The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, the podcast where brand new entrepreneurs come to life and could quite possibly be discovered. Join me, DJ Scoob, and the rest of the Scoob Believers as we help these new businesses become a reality. And now, away we go! We now join DJ Scoob and the coaching of Leo, host of Film and Fermentations podcast, already in progress.
I've been listening to you. I've been listening to you for a while,
Mm-hmm.
guys. So when you kind of made a call out, like you were having some problems, I wanted to kind of take that opportunity to say, hey, kind of give you a little payback for the work that you do in my own kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So can you go now? You do Film and Fermentations. It's you and who else?
Myself and my co-hosts, Mike and Kevin.
Cool.
We're three friends. We've been friends for a while, and we started this 3 years ago as just like a hobby. Let's get together once a week, have fun talking about movies. But now we're 3 years and almost 150 episodes into it, and wondering why we're not getting as many downloads as other people are. So,
Okay. So it sounds like downloads are obviously, I mean, we're both podcasts, so downloads are really important to us. What else is going on in the podcast itself? I mean, it seems like you have a good thing going, but it's been kind of the same way for quite some time.
yeah.
So, I mean, what else do you got? What other kind of plans do you have for the podcast?
So our 150th episode is going to be a live one with a live open chat for anybody who wants to join us on that program. I've been advertising that for a couple of weeks now, hoping we get some people to join us that night. We joined a podcast network recently who has helped us get a few ad opportunities for our show. We've been doing more promo swaps lately, especially with the shows on the network, obviously. So, I mean, we have an audience. That's not like my issue. It's just like, how do you get people to download more? Because if we really want to get some revenue going, the downloads seem to be the one metric that's the most important.
Okay. So besides downloads, is there anything else on your mind about what you want to accomplish with your podcast?
No, I mean, I think we evolved like our first, I want to say like first 20 episodes were just like a hodgepodge of just us throwing things together and just talking nonsense and not even having some real direction. And then as the show has gone on, we've gotten more and more structured. We have a format that works for us now. We've added some new segments recently. We've gotten rid of some ones that we're sort of getting stale. We're trying to come up with some real creative topics to talk about, and it's still a lot of fun. Like I don't want it to seem like my only concern is like just getting the downloads and all that. Like we're still going to do it because we enjoy doing it, and we do know people are listening. So.
But ultimately, where do you want to see the podcast, say, in the next year or so? I mean, you got to have some kind of goal for yourself when you're doing this.
Yeah, like I would love it if, I mean, we're nowhere near 1,000 downloads a month, and I would love to see us at least get to 1,000 downloads a month. I know there's podcasts out there to get 10,000 a month, 5,000, whatever it might be. I have no illusions that we're going to be like podcasts that gets 1 million downloads a month or something like that. That's not what we're trying to do. We're an independent pod. But it would be nice to just if we could get somewhere close to 1,000, we might be able to make a little bit of revenue off the show, which could help us in increasing our production value and whatnot.
Okay. So downloads, revenues, it sounds like it's a subject of some type or another. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a goal of 1,000 downloads a month. What else? Is there anything else you'd like to see in your podcast?
No, I think that's mainly what it is. We have a great rapport. Like, we've been friends for a really long time, so we have good chemistry together. The people who do listen to the show and comment on it seem to enjoy what we do. I love being a part of that podcast community we have on Twitter, now X or whatever it's called now.
Right.
When we joined that community, that's when our show really started growing. And that's when we thought it could be a little something more than just like a hobby.
Yeah, I found it kind of felt the same way too after Austin brought me in, and then he kind of put me in charge. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. So I've been just kind of messing around in there too, and I've been seeing myself show up in a lot of different places now that wasn't before. So it's been a big help for me too. So it's good to see you, good to see you there. Okay.
That's why I'm like constantly trying to branch out on other social media sites as much as I can. So I wish I had joined Twitter sooner than I did, because that seemed to be the thing that helped us grow the most at the beginning. And then I would say within the last year, we joined TikTok, and I've used that to post like quick snippets of each new episode that's coming up just to whet the appetite. And we've gotten a decent number of followers on there and people who have like the show and things like that. I'm just like, I don't know how to get it to translate into the downloads. That's the thing. I don't know is there like a strategy for that or something? I say it in the show all the time. Don't forget to like, download, subscribe, all that stuff. But
okay. So social media that you've been using, especially TikTok lately, that's kind of new for you. You've been kind of strategizing that a little bit more, trying to get downloads that way.
Utilizing their live feature a little bit.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's good. You get comments. Where are you getting the most comments on? I mean, what platform are you getting the most comments on, you think?
I would say between like Twitter and TikTok right now. And we get a few on Instagram here and there as well. Okay. Not so much, but Instagram, TikTok, but Twitter, I would say, is probably the one we get the most comments from. Okay.
So when you do get a comment from a listener, and what's a listener? It's somebody that's been listening to y'all. What is the process? I mean, what do you do with that comment?
Usually I answer back with a thank you or like a special like message for that person in particular. I might send them a link for an earlier episode they might want to check out or something like that. Like, just kind of keep their interest in the show.
Okay. It's really important to shake every hand that you can when you get comments like that. So I know it's kind of hard to do, especially, do you have one guy that does your social medias, or do you guys split it, or how does that work?
I do everything pretty much.
You do everything.
I do the recording, the editing, the social media. I have all the websites and all I set up myself. I'm a technology specialist by career. So for me to do that stuff is not like difficult. And it was my idea. So I kind of like took the reins from the start.
Right. Does it get overwhelming?
No, I enjoy it. For me, it's kind of like a hobby.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Sometimes when you get a whole lot of stuff going at once, it can be a little bit overwhelming, and you kind of lose time where like you're doing so much of all the other stuff, you don't get time to be creative. And sometimes
and I mean, as far as the creative portion of it goes, like our notes that we do for each episode, what we're going to talk about. I mean, Mike and Kevin contribute to that.
Oh, good. So they do something. That's what I was.
They have segments of the show that they're in charge of. They help with going out and word of mouth, trying to spread word of mouth as well. So, I mean, they help with that. I do a lot of the technical stuff and the social media and all that.
Well, I was afraid they were putting everything on you, and that's what.
Oh no, they they're always saying, what do you want us to do? What do you want us to do? And I'm like, I got it. It's not a big deal.
You'd be surprised how many podcasters I talk to just like this, and they say, I do everything. And my guy just kind of sits back and joins in. And I'm like, don't do that. You're going to overwhelm yourself. That's why I was feeling.
I say like at the beginning, it was a lot more me. And now as it's become more routine, it's been easier to kind of say like, why don't you do this? You do that. I'll handle this. I would just say I do like most of the heavy stuff.
But it's good that you have the ability to delegate out things that need to be done.
Yeah.
It's good. Okay. So when you get a comment coming in, I hear you say you do a couple of things with it. Is there anything we can do with those comments that we can increase downloads of one way, shape, or form? I mean, what do you think?
I don't know. Like, I mean, other than saying, hey, don't forget to tell your friends about us or something like that.
So when I get someone that comments, now I don't get a whole lot of comments. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't for some reason. But when I do get one, I tend to want to start asking them questions about the show more than just, hey, thanks for listening. Here's an extra show. A good way is to ask them, what do you think of the show? Or what don't you like in the show? Start getting some ideas of what they would like to hear in the show. And then when you make that change that they suggested and they hear that in your podcast, they're going to feel real good. Oh, they made that change we talked about. He actually listened to me. When somebody starts feeling that feeling, they're going to start telling their friends, hey, go listen to this because I helped him do this. Now they're going to go listen, and it starts building from there. So that is a good way to start word of mouth, which is going to be your biggest asset. Now, social media, okay, I get that, but everybody does social media now. So it works to a point, but it's not going to be as effective as some other processes that you can use.
Okay.
So getting more involved in not so much getting involved in their lives, but getting in the head of the people that are actually talking to you is going to be a huge asset for you. Because you have that capability of talking to somebody that's actually listened to the show and actually has an outside view of your show.
What would you suggest, or would you be on board with something like a general blast? If I just send a message out on like X, hey, to all the people listening out there, we're looking for some suggestions or comments or whatever, kind of like fish for it a little bit.
You could do that. Absolutely. Anything to get people to start talking back to you in one way, shape, or form is going to be an asset for you, because eventually you're going to learn what they want to listen to, and then you could provide them that service of what they actually want to listen to. Whether it's they want to hear you crack a beer, or they want to hear you talk about a specific type of movie or something like that. Or I would love to hear a 3-part series on Leprechaun. I don't know, just throwing things out there. But you're going to start, once you start getting the idea of what people are actually listening for, they're going to be more likely to, number one, listen to you, but number two, suggest to their friends to listen to you, because now you're starting to give them what they want.
Okay.
And that's going to increase downloads, because the word's going to get out that you're actually talking to people. That's one thing that listeners really want from their podcasters, is to actually have them listen and take suggestions from them. And that's kind of what I've been trying to do. Unfortunately, I'm going to be honest with you, I haven't been having very much luck. I'm in a niche that's a little bit rougher. So, but yeah, if you got people commenting, use that to your advantage.
I think one of the things too, like you talk about, you're in a specific niche. Like we're in the kind of genre of podcasts where like you can walk 2 inches and kick another movie podcast. Sure. So how do you make yourself different from everybody else? That's why we added the fermentation part. We thought if we can do something that sticks out a little bit, that'd be great.
So there is a lot of people that do similar things as you too.
Oh, I know. They're all in the network that we're on.
Right, exactly. So
it's like eight other shows on the network whose whole gimmick is watching movies and drinking.
So who has the most down? I don't. How long have you been in this network?
We started with them, I want to say maybe September, October, something like that. So it's only been like 6 months or so.
6 or 7 months. Okay, so how many people are in this network? You said eight of them?
Well, that's just in our genre. They have a sports area, they have a business, they have True Tales, all that kind of stuff. So like, we're on their movie section.
Okay. So of the 8 movie sections that you have, which one has the most downloads, you think? Or which one's the top dog there?
There's 2 that I think do really well. There's one called Barrel Aged Flicks and another one called Bev's Video Kingdom. And they both have similar themes, like they watch movies and drink and all that stuff.
So do you have contacted these 2?
I've talked to the host at the one Bev's Video Kingdom a couple times. So I'm trying to work something out with him to either guest on his show or have him on ours.
Have you specifically asked them, what do you do to gain downloads?
I have not yet.
Okay. So
I don't want to seem like the weak guy in the bunch since we're the new podcast. So.
But you said you are sitting in a very special spot being the new guy, because you have all these other people that you could learn from. And trust me, they want to see you succeed. Don't feel like that they're going to think you're competition. That's one thing I've learned since I've been podcasting. The one thing I like about podcasting networks, anything to do with podcasting, is they're so willing to help you with advice and try this or do this. Where I used to be, I'm retired. I don't want to say retired because I'm still working. I'm a 16-year car salesman. You want to talk about cutthroat? There was no way I can ask anybody anything. But here in the podcasting world, it's the complete opposite. And that's why I feel so good about doing what I do, because not only are people willing to help me, but I've been far long enough now where I can help other people in return and start paying it forward, right? So don't feel intimidated or fearful about asking some of these higher end podcasts that are in your network, that are part of your team, what they do to increase downloads.
Okay. It's something I did at the very beginning, like after, I would say like not our first year, but like well into the first year of the podcast, when we started getting a little more serious about it and working on like the format and all. I reached out to some podcasts that I was a fan of, that I listened to a lot, and asked them to listen to the show and tell me what they think. But these were podcasts that had, budgets for like producers and stuff like that. And I think I had one respond to me, and his advice wasn't really much along the lines of like things to help me, but just more, sounds like a fun podcast, keep it up kind of thing. Like that was like the most I got out of that. And then I found a few podcasts similar to ours that were like independent podcasts, and I started listening to them more. They were the ones that were willing to kind of like give me some feedback on the show. And I still am in communication with those guys. And then it was when we joined Twitter that's where everything really started to grow.
Okay.
Yeah. And it mainly comes from things like when I see, what's the guy's name over at the Visit Vegas Places podcast. Yeah, he posted, 10,000 downloads last month. And I was like, how? I was like, how did that? I reached out to him too. I have to contact him to talk to him about it as well.
Coyle's a really good friend of mine. I have him on speed dial, if you want to say.
He sent me his number. I have to give him a call.
Yeah, I've been with him since the beginning, since my beginning anyway, and we've been interacting with each other a lot. He's supposed to be coming out to visit me here sometime soon. I was on his podcast about Branson, Missouri, which is where I'm at, and it's poor man's Vegas. So, but anyway, those are the type of people we want to get on. Now, something that you said earlier when we first started the conversation kind of struck me a little bit. I'm going to hit it real quick. You have this, and I don't know how you feel about it, but you really are comparing yourself to a lot of high-end people and what their downloads are. And there's nothing really wrong with that. But at the same time, you really can't compare yourself to other people that have been doing it either longer than you or have a different niche than you or anything like that.
I wasn't so much comparing as just how did they get the level of success that they have, more than are we just as good as them?
because they're doing something that you're not.
Yeah.
We just have to figure out what that is. Most of the time it's a niche that they do or something that they do in their podcast that sets them apart from everything else. Now you have a niche, but I'm going to be honest with you, it's not narrow enough to be able to start getting a specific type of people to listen to your podcast. You have movies and you have alcohol, but a lot of people are doing that. So what you need is movies, alcohol, and something else. And we need to figure out what that something else is.
Okay.
So have you explored anything else? Now you said you've tried a couple of things and other things. Have you explored any other types of things you could do in your podcast that might narrow that niche down a little bit?
No. I'll have to talk to Kevin and Mike, see what ideas they have about it. Like when I said we added things, it was like segments we added for comedy's sake, something that we thought was funny or whatever. And then after it got kind of like stale, we took it out and tried something different. We've added some segments, like news segments, news in the world of alcohol kind of thing. So it's not just us drinking and us talking about movies, but we try to add some other things to it. But still, it's still kind of in the same niche. If you're talking about adding like a third different thing, that's where we'd have to like brainstorm on it.
So how do we, I know we combine movies and alcohol because we're drinking alcohol while we're doing movies, but is there another way that we combine those two into one type of thing? I don't have an answer for that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that right off the top of my head either.
That's just like what I like to do when I talked about people that have 2 or 3 different things going on at the same time or niches or whatever. I think no better way to combine them into one particular thing might be a good way to go. When you were doing these segments, did you notice any increase in it and downloads or comments or anything out of one specific type of, say, comedy or whatever it was that you were doing?
No, everything we're pretty steady at the downloads that we get now. There was one episode we did a while back that really spiked in the number that we got.
Tell me about that one.
It was called Filling in the Plot Holes. And we talked about plot holes in movies. It's basically like what the theme was for that night. I don't know why, but that episode had like 3 times the downloads we normally have. And so our live episode that we're doing in a couple weeks, we're revisiting that topic in the hopes that that's something that kind of helps a little bit. So that seems to be one of our most popular episodes.
Because that's something that a lot of movie buffs like to talk about are plot holes, especially in higher end movies. Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, where there's plot holes. What would you think would happen? Or sometimes that's pretty interesting to think about. I would definitely listen to something like that.
Yeah. So our live episode is filling in the plot holes, but it's our Star Wars edition because it's Star Wars Day. So
should be plenty then.
Yeah, we're hoping that I've gotten a lot of feedback on TikTok for that. Like in feedback, I mean like people bookmarking that as like something to remember. So I'm hoping that helps like at least increase the audience a little bit. And we have a number of recurring segments like that we do that tend to be some of our more popular episodes. But it's not something like I don't want to do that every week because then it gets tiresome. So it's like we every like season, if you want to call it that, we'll throw one of these segments out there at some point just to come back to it. And then we try to mix other things in there as well, like topics that are unique, sort of like a topic of the week.
Okay. So what you should do then is kind of keep a track. I mean, if you can keep track of analytics on what's happening during those particular types. I mean, what you're doing right now is a good idea. And I think that's going to be a good way to explore a topic that might be interesting, and definitely keep an eye on your analytics on that. The other thing that I've noticed too, and I actually started experimenting with this myself, is shorter episodes. I have a segment now that is probably no more than 20 minutes long each. And I've actually been seeing an increase on downloads on those 20-minute segments.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know that's kind of hard for you guys to do because, number one, there's 3 of you, and you're all going to talk and say what you have to say, and it's movies, which are generally 2 hours long. But is there a way maybe you guys can do segments that are maybe a little shorter that you could experiment with?
So we average our episodes, according to Buzzsprout, our average episode is like an hour, 20 minutes. But that includes ads, promo swaps, music at the beginning and end. There's maybe 10 minutes in there that's not us. It's outside stuff that I have to jam into the show. So I would say like the work that we put into it is on average about an hour. Like we try not to go too long with our first few episodes. We had an episode that was like 3 hours.
Yeah, that's way.
And yeah, we're like, this is not going to happen. We're not popular enough for a 3-hour episode. We're not Joe Rogan. So we try to limit ourselves to somewhere within an hour to an hour and a half tops. Plus, we record at night because we all work, so it's right. We don't want to be up too late anyway.
Right. Even if it's just so I'm just brainstorming now. What if we were to do a particular movie that had a plot hole in it, but just talk about that one plot hole for 10, 15 minutes? And then turn that into a short episode. What I did was these short episodes, I could actually punch out editing in this short episode in half an hour, 45 minutes tops. And that's if I'm like tired. If I'm doing really good, I could pop it out in probably about 20 minutes. So it's really easy. And I'm using those as a Friday episode. So I'm actually producing twice. My brain just stopped right there. Sorry. I'm putting these things out twice a week now. So I'm doing a regular podcast. And then on Friday, I'm doing a quick podcast and then a regular podcast and a quick podcast. So I produce Tuesday and then I produce Friday. And those Fridays are the 20-minute episodes. And then to the Tuesday are the ones that are a little bit longer. They're about an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour. So people are getting an idea of they can either listen to this one that's a little bit longer, or if they have this little short one, this little tasty one that they could listen to. And then it gives them, I like this. I wonder what else they have. So that they're more likely to listen to the longer one.
So I've done in the past, if there's a week where we're not recording because something or another we can't record, I'll do what I call mini pod reviews. And I'll take like a movie that I've seen recently or a movie that I've revisited and do a 5 to 10 minute quick review and post those. And I've done maybe 20 of those over the last couple of years. So it's not something I do frequently, but I kind of do it as a way to like fill in the gaps when we don't have a full episode coming up. So you're thinking maybe if I did a few more of those like intermittently as like additional content.
But what I'm saying is take your highest downloaded subject
and do a mini episode on that.
Exactly. So instead of doing an entire movie and all their plot holes, one particular plot hole that seems to be the most popular in a specific movie, and concentrate on that one plot hole for 10, 12 minutes. And then after your intros and outros and maybe a commercial spot, it's at about 20. You see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
So getting everything in there, but you're getting the one piece that everybody likes about your show, and that's the plot holes, right? So this thing that's coming up was, like I said before, is going to be a very strategic science project, basically, if the plot hole formula works. Because if you see an increase in downloads for plot holes, then you know that's what your audience is looking for. So if you make something for your audience that they like, they're going to be more likely to not only listen to it, but suggest it to their friends that are into plot holes as well.
I had something I was thinking about for the live episode too. We have a couple segments we do before we get into our main segment, which is usually the movie talk. But since this is a live episode and I don't want to bore people to death with other things, we want to get right into the movie. I was thinking of doing a quick intro and then going right into the main topic for the live part. And then the other segments that we normally do, we will record separately and then edit together for the release the following week. So we'll have a live release and then we'll have an edited release, which will be like the full show. So I was thinking something like that, at least for the live show, just to kind of keep it streamlined for the audience. The whole point of it is to get people on to live chat with us. And I want to make sure that they're interested in what we're chatting about.
Make sure you give them enough subject to actually want to chat about. So
Mhm.
part of your actual show is that movie talk.
Mhm.
And I hate to see that eliminated because sometimes that's what people want is that. I mean, I listen to, they're out now, but today we left and learned the first 15 minutes of them is just bantering back and forth. That's freaking hilarious.
Mhm.
And I don't even listen to the rest of the I mean, I do, but the whole reason I listen to that podcast is to listen to that opening banter because I can't stop laughing when I listen to them. So in the same aspect as you, I'd hate for you to leave out the one piece that people really like about you and your podcast is that opening talk about movies.
Mhm.
So what if you were to do like a flash round?
So we normally do a quick intro, talk about our drinks. We do it this week in film history, which is usually like 4 or 5 little quick facts. And then there's a little bit of talk, like we do like a beer news is good news segment where we talk about some news and then we go into the main topic. So I try to make the first part of the show pretty quick. We get through like the drinks, this week in film history and the news stuff within the first 15 minutes or so. And then the majority of the show is the movie talk afterwards, whatever the topic of the week is.
Okay.
It's
So
kind
what
of
if
how we have it formatted.
right. What if we were to move those things to just one subject? So one good news, one movie. What was again? It's the good news, the beer news and movie news, right?
It's this week in film history.
Film history. That's right. All
So
right.
we talk about some like events that happened in the past on the particular date.
So what if
And
you
then,
don't?
and then we do like an alcohol segment called Beer News is Good News.
Beer is good. I love that. So instead of doing 5 or 6 pieces of film history, just do like one.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing for the beer. If there's 3 of you, decide whose beer or subject matter. If you're going to talk about beer, have that beer's history or something like that. Have one of you drinking that beer. I'm just throwing this against the wall.
So like Mike does the This Week in Film History segment, and he usually, however many facts we have, just depends on the week usually, because he researches on some website and he just kind of copies whatever's on there. And so if it's a light week, it might be 1 fact. If it's some weeks, there's 8 facts or whatever. He'll read it, and then I'll usually add a little something to it and try to like keep it like fun and lighthearted.
So you banter off of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we banter off of that. And then Kevin does the beer news segment. And a lot of it, sometimes it's kind of local because we're all on the East Coast.
Right.
But then we'll expand out to like other places in the country if we have something interesting that we want to share. And that's maybe the first 15 minutes of the show. Now for that live episode, we can keep those segments in, just streamline them a little bit. Just, keep it quick.
Keep it quick. Like
we want to get to the main stuff.
Right. So this could be another good experiment for you, finding out like if you're to do just the film history and the beer history quick, like 1 fact for each, and see if that performs better than doing 5 or 6 facts of each, doing 2 or 3 different beer facts. Because sometimes, I mean, after getting 2 or 3 facts, and okay, we need to move on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would actually even experiment with that a little bit. It may be on a show or 2 where it's just 1 fact of each, and then moving on to getting into the actual show itself. I know.
So we're recording this Thursday night, so we always do a 20 minutes of pre-show prep.
Yeah,
we kind of go over what we want to do that night. So I'm going to be bringing a lot of this up to them then, so we can kind of brainstorm a little bit.
Yeah, at this point, you have an audience. You just need to start experimenting with what they want. So, I mean, there's talking to them, and that's going to be big for you, just like we talked about earlier. But then trying something different than what you've been doing to see if there's a different flux of downloads, whether it goes up or down. If it's going up, then you're doing the right thing. If it goes down, then you're doing the wrong thing. It's pretty easy. If you have a way, I don't think Buzzsprout has a way to do it. Oh, are you on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay. Is your podcast directly going to the YouTube as well?
We release it the same day we release the audio podcast.
So you have your RSS feed into YouTube?
No, I upload it to YouTube through a separate file. I don't use Buzzsprout for that.
Okay, so
But I schedule it for release on the same day as the audio.
okay, so I don't know if you knew this or not, but YouTube has their own podcasting section now.
Okay.
It's just the audio.
Okay.
So all you need to do is go to YouTube, go to podcasts, and they actually have a spot for you to put your RSS feed, and then it'll put your audio and your pod cover on a YouTube listening platform.
Okay.
And I've actually seen this pretty significant increase doing that, because now we have a whole other system.
It's an audio platform that they have now.
Yeah, I could actually I'll send you one of mine just so you know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would suggest doing that because YouTube actually has an algorithm where most other podcasting systems don't have a good algorithm like YouTube. YouTube is the second best algorithm out in the world right now. So if you have your podcast on there, they're going to have more likely people finding it through algorithm than anything else.
Yeah.
So I would doing that.
I was going to say, because we do all right on YouTube with views. We have over 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, and I would say, I don't know, I guess I'm saying not also every subscriber is watching because I'm not getting 1,000 views on the episodes, but we're in the 200 to 300 views per episode.
Oh, good. That's good. That's actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, if they have an audio platform now, then yeah, I think I'd definitely like to check that out.
So do you have the YouTube ads turned on for that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I want you to have some kind of, if you have 1,000, it's 1,000 followers and 4,000 hours of viewing. I don't know exactly how that is.
Yeah, it's some weird. Yeah. And then they'll give you, they'll place ads into your video for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what else can we do here? What other ways can we start getting people to start listening to you more often? Contests, maybe?
Okay.
Question mark? So you can I know the Geeky Dad had at one point, you should probably talk to him about this too, where he and his kids put a code word in 4 of his episodes. And then if you got all 4 of the code words, you got a $10 gift card or something like that.
Okay.
Something really dinky small, but at the same time, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to get people that want to know those code words if they're going to play along. So they're going to listen to the podcast. So that's an example of a contest that you could do to increase downloads. You could probably even contact him and ask him how he did it, or he might even have some ideas on how to hit. He actually does really well.
Yeah. I know. I listen to his podcast on occasion. So
yeah, he's on my playlist on Good Pods for sure. I love it. Funny. I love his kids.
Yeah.
So what else can we do here? What else do you think we could do to increase downloads? Is there anything, off the wall zany that you've ever thought of that you thought, well, this will never work?
No. All the directions that I've taken so far have been pretty standard. Like we pay for advertising on some shows. We've done free promo swaps with other shows. I send it to you in that initial message I sent to you, all the things that we've tried. And that's why I came to you for some more ideas.
Right. No, and I'm glad you did. I hope I'm helping a little bit.
Yeah.
But let's see, what else by any freak chance, have you all started an email list?
No.
Okay. So here's a good way to stay in touch with the people that you already have as fans, is to collect emails. Okay. So you can actually coincide this with a promo where you could say, hey, we'll put your name in a hat. All you need to do is give us your email address. So we have a way to contact you. Now, anybody that gives you this email address they're already listening to your show because they heard you say the promo, right? And these are people more than likely that want to follow you and do what you want to do, that like what you do.
Mm-hmm.
So these are people that are already kind of warm to what you do, and these are your listeners. Now you have a direct contact with your listeners, not through any kind of social media platform or anything like that. You have their email list. And people love hearing from the people that they listen to in any way, shape, or form, especially in email, because that's a lot more personable than it is on a social media platform. This is just you talking to them. No funky stuff in between, right? So this is how we start gathering super fans, right? These are super fans are basically will pretty much buy up anything that you put out, whether it be stickers, t-shirts, a product that you're selling because they trust that what you're putting out there is good, right? Like the coffee ad that you guys had, I think recently, things like that. I was on my way to get some of that coffee there after the ad. That's for sure. I'm a big coffee nut, as you can see. I've been sipping on it since we started.
Yes, same here. That's why we agreed to do the ad. They sent us free stuff.
But I think your biggest asset at this particular point is going to be contacting your listeners and asking them what they want.
Okay.
And I think gathering emails and making an email list of your followers, of the people that watch you consistently or listen to you consistently, would be a good way to start gathering more people, which will mean more downloads. And then you could send emails to these people saying, hey, I have the new download that's coming out today. Oh, the newest episode's out. Oh, I got to listen to that. And let me put that on my list for the day. Putting it through social media, they're lucky if they get it because it has to go through an algorithm.
Yeah.
Right. This way, there's no algorithm. There's no one, there's nothing in your way. Sending them an email saying, hey, the newest episode's out today. So when you have a release, you have a big bunch of people that are listening on that one day, a bunch of downloads that happen on that one day, which means the algorithms and all the other podcasting and in the YouTube that we talked about earlier are going to say, hey, he's starting to get a gathering. We got to start pushing him out more. You see it, and then it kind of dominoes from there.
Okay.
So that might be an idea for you too. Now I use ConvertKit, the name I use. There's other ones out there. There's some free ones that you can do that go, so far when you're just getting started. You could look into that too. System.io is a good one. But these are ones that you could actually set up email. So you have some kind of system where it's in somewhere, not like on a piece of paper, on a doc file somewhere, where it's actually in a system where you can send it all out at once and not have to go cut, paste, right? So that might be a good way to go too, to get people to notice you a little bit more.
Okay.
So what do you think of that? Is that okay?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of stuff to get started with. So
don't worry, because I'll send this recording to you as soon as we get off.
Okay.
Listen back.
Cool.
To it. That's one of the reasons why I record this thing. It's because what did he just say? What did he just say? We don't want that for you, so we'll get you.
No, I've been kind of keeping track of a lot of it while we've been talking, but I'll take the recording anyway because I might see if Mike and Kev want me to share it with them. And
oh, good, yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, yeah.
So, what else are you trying to accomplish? Is there anything else that you'd really like to go over?
No, I mean, right now it's just like if we can get to somewhere near 1,000 downloads, I'd be really happy with that. And that's just the short-term goal.
Yeah. And it's a good goal to have. That's one of my goals as well, too. That's where I'd like to be for the same reason. Don't think though that the only reason that people are going to start looking at you is because you have 1,000 downloads a month. There's other ways to make money, revenue for your podcast besides having 1,000 listeners than going out and finding sponsors. There's affiliate marketing, which would probably be easy for you guys, because if you were to market a specific type of beer that you could buy somewhere and get a special link from that company to anybody, say, hey, if you want to try this beer, go to our website or go to the show notes, click on this link, and then the company gives you a certain amount of money for those people that a commission for those people that buy off of that link.
We have that right now with the coffee company and this audio app called Newsly, where if anybody they use our promo code, we get a reciprocal thing from it. But
coffee, I like the coffee one. The Newsly, not so much, just because it doesn't really match your niche.
Yeah.
You really want to try to find something that matches your niche, whether it be a particular beer company that you could talk to. Say, out here we have Springfield Brewing Company. And I know they have affiliate programs. And all I know Deathwater. Do you know what Deathwater is?
Yeah.
Okay. So Deathwater has an affiliate program. Things like that. I think if you were to try to build an affiliate camaraderie with one of the alcohol companies that you're with, that would definitely match up to what you guys are trying to accomplish.
Okay.
And bring in some revenue that you don't have to wait for or send a pitch deck to, or that they call you back and that kind of thing. It's a little easier when you're doing it the affiliate way.
Okay.
So, all right. I don't want to overload you there, Leo.
That's fine.
I already gave you a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Give me like one or two things that you really took away from this conversation.
The first thing is asking the listeners what they would like to hear and all that. I think that's a good way to reach out first. And the email listing, I think, is another one I really want to work on, as well as YouTube. I didn't know about that. That's something I can do very easily. I'm not too concerned about that. But the other thing's going to take a little bit more work. But I like the idea behind it and what we can accomplish with it. So
awesome. So what do you think the first thing you're going to do after our conversation is over here and we hang up? What do you think the first thing you're going to do is?
I'm going to hop on Twitter and send a blast message out. Asking anybody if they have any ideas or whatever. And then I'm going to text Kevin and Mike, let them know a little bit about our conversation, and we'll talk more about it in our pre-show on Thursday.
Yeah. And
see what they think
send
about
this
it.
video to them. I love, hi guys, how you doing? Okay. So send the video to them so they have a frame of reference too, so they're not like kept in the dark about what we talked about. That's kind of important.
And if you use this segment on one of your episodes, let me know which one, and I'll make sure I promote it on our show too. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I'll definitely keep it posted on that. All right, I'm going to stop recording. Thank you for listening to the coaching edition of The Undiscovered Entrepreneur, brought to you by Doing It Today Coaching. If you want to get across the start line, contact me, DJ Scoob, at doingittodaycoaching@gmail.com. Say the words "do it now" for a free 2-hour discovery call to see how I can help you in your entrepreneur adventure. Art and graphics by Elaine Wilson, supported by my Patreons, Brian Briggs of Ocean Tree Creative and Oliver Siegel of Anal, and hosted by me, DJ Scoob. Click the show notes below for more information. And remember, I can, I am, I will, and I'm doing it today. Do you find yourself faltering when speaking in public? You definitely know what you're talking about, but you just can't seem to get over the horrific fear, and imagining people in their underwear is just not working. Whether you're gearing up for a big presentation or just looking to improve your daily communications, Leslie Fiorenzo is your go-to resource for mastering self-promotion, facing your audience fearlessly, and communicating with authority. Don't miss out on your opportunity to elevate your game. Contact Leslie Fiorenzo now, or go to tuepodcast.net/speak to step into the spotlight with confidence. Your adventure in public speaking mastery starts here and now. Don't wait to get your voice heard. Book your free consultation at tuepodcast.net/speak to start your adventure in speaking excellence today.